Making headlines, President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's administration affirms its commitment to respecting and upholding the rights of recipients of housing scheme land plots. PCB announces that the board of directors of HDC, except the chairperson, has been suspended pending an ongoing investigation. And the Finance Ministry announces a significant reduction in state expenditure on the National Health Insurance Scheme Asanda and subsidies.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's administration affirms its commitment to respecting and upholding the rights of recipients of housing scheme land plots. This assurance comes in the wake of allegations concerning the management of Hulumale land plots under the previous government's Bimvaria housing scheme.
Chief spokesperson at the President's office in Awalid provided the assurance, stating that the Board of Directors of the Housing Development Corporation, HDC, except for the chairperson, has been suspended pending an ongoing investigation into the matter. The Maldives Police Service, MPS, is currently investigating the allegations of wrongdoing. He has stated that the suspension of the HDC board was implemented to guarantee the impartiality of the police investigation and to foster an environment that facilitates the expeditious completion of the inquiry. She stressed that the rights of the recipients of land plots under the Bimvaria housing scheme have been fully protected and assured that the government will refrain from any future actions that could potentially violate these rights. The HDC board was suspended by the Privatization and Corporatization Board, PCB, which oversees the privatization and corporatization of government businesses to ensure transparency, efficiency, and adherence to legal and international best practices. In a statement, the PCB also stated that the suspension was necessary to allow the police to conduct a thorough investigation into the allegations of wrongdoing.
The Privatization and Corporatization Board, PCB, announces that the Board of Directors of the Housing Development Corporation, HDC, except for the chairperson, has been suspended pending an ongoing investigation.
HDC is a state-owned enterprise mandated with managing and undertaking the overall planning and building of the reclaimed city of Hulumale. The PCB, which oversees the privatization and corporatization of government businesses to ensure transparency, efficiency, and adherence to legal and international best practices, stated that the suspension was necessary to allow the Maldives Police Service, MPS, to conduct a thorough investigation into allegations of wrongdoing. The suspension followed accusations related to the handling of Hulumale land plots under the previous government's Bimvaria housing scheme. The suspension was necessary to assist the police investigation. According to the PCB's statement, the suspension will remain in place until the police complete their investigation and until the PCB reaches a decision on the matter. Among those suspended is HDC's Managing Director Ibrahim Fazl Rashid, alongside board directors Azhar Abdullah Said, Ibrahim Yusuful, Muhammad Wisham, Ullah Muhammad Rashid, Arif Abdul Samad, Muhammad Najil, Muhammad Wahid, Fatmat Mizna Ali, and Yusuf Wahid. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday evening, HDC Managing Director Fazl Rashid clarified that the Ministry of Housing, Land and Urban Development decided the recipients of the Bimvaria housing scheme. He explained that HDC had no role in the decision-making process and had not allocated any land plots in Hulumale to individuals who were not officially declared recipients by the Housing Ministry. Rashid's statement responded to local media allegations suggesting that HDC had handed over land plots to non-recipients under the scheme. According to Rashid, the controversial land plots had initially been flagged and reported to the relevant authorities by HDC itself. Rashid also provided a timeline of requests made to and responses received from the Housing Ministry regarding the matter.
The Ministry of Finance announces a significant reduction in state expenditure on the National Health Insurance Scheme, Asanda, and subsidies.
The current administration began enforcing measures to cut public spending in response to poor policies of previous governments, which had plunged the state into a significant amount of debt, jeopardizing the economy. Implementing the ASAN and subsidy system without strong policies had led to a significant increase in government spending and debt, prompting international financial institutions to urge the Maldives to adopt policy reforms. However, until now, no significant action had been taken to tackle the issue as recommended. In contrast, the government spending skyrocketed over the years to the point that the previous government had to resort to printing money to manage its finances. This in turn led to an increasing demand for foreign currency and caused commodity prices to soar. Faced with an economy on the brink of bankruptcy, President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu took office in November 2023 with an ambitious pledge to reduce expenditure and boost revenue. From his first day of office, the President has directed the administration to operate as per policies that aligned with these pledges. One of the most significant spending reductions have been observed in the subsidiary system. According to official statistics, the expenditure on subsidies had increased year on year under previous administrations. However, for the first time in years, the current administration is on track to reverse the trend. While the former government spent 4.4% more on subsidies in 2023 compared to 2022, the current administration's new measures has seen a 3.6% decrease in subsidy spending so far this year compared to 2023 figures. While the subsidy expenditure was at $243 million in 2023, this figure has now reduced to $234 million in the same period.
State utility company State Electric Company Limited, STELCO, launches its research foundation. The research foundation was inaugurated by the company's managing director Hussein Fahmi at a ceremony held Wednesday at STELCO's head office in Male. The STELCO Research Foundation aims to elevate the Maldives research and innovation sector to a new level by advancing the country's science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics sector through familiarization with modern research and technology. Speaking at the launch ceremony, Fahmi said STELCO aims to contribute to the advancement of the country through its research foundation. He noted that STELCO has educated employees in diverse fields, making the company a resourceful company, the capacity to lead such initiatives. He said the company aimed to serve the country through the foundation, and the initiative Research Foundation should not be limited to a ceremonial launch. He added that the country should benefit from it through meaningful thought and reflection. The STELCO Research Foundation's website was also unveiled at the ceremony. The company also announced its newest project, the Unmanned Submersive Vehicle USV project, the same day. The project involves underwater drones designed to locate and access areas that are inaccessible through diving, monitoring and collecting data from these sites and aid in environmental protection efforts. The Elections Commission of the Maldives ECM announces that 5 political parties are eligible to receive state funding in 2025. According to the Political Parties Act, funding from the state budget is distributed to political parties with a minimum membership of 10,000. The 5 parties that qualify to receive funding from the 2025 budget are Maldivian Democratic Party MDP, People's National Congress PNC, Adalat Party AP, Jumhuri Party JP, Maldives Development Alliance MDA. The Progressive Party of Maldives PPM also meets the 10,000 member threshold. However, as the party's Senate has decided to dissolve the party earlier this month, allocations have not been made for the party from the budget, ECM confirmed. ECM further stated that the amount to be disbursed to each party will be determined based on the final number of members registered to the parties by the end of December. Previously, 0.1 to 0.2% of the total state budget was allocated as funding for political parties. However, amendments to the law now allocates 0.1 to 0.2% of the government's estimated revenue for the year. In 2024 budget, $2.8 million was allocated to 6 political parties, including PPM. The same 5 parties qualified to receive funding next year were also recipients in the 2024. The Elections Commission of the Maldives, ECM, has initiated the process of dissolving the Progressive Party of Maldives, PPM. Founded by former President Maumoon Abdul Qayyum, the party was officially registered on 27 October 2011. Over the years, the party's ownership and leadership have undergone significant changes. Most recently, the party was operated as part of a coalition with the ruling People's National Congress, PNC. In an extraordinary Senate session held on 2nd December, PPM reached the decision to dissolve itself. PPM had explained its reason for seeking a dissolution as finding it unreasonable for the party to be managed under a separate leadership while PNC is operated under similar ideologies and policies. The ECM said as the PPM's Senate had decided to dissolve the party as per Article 61 of the party's constitution, it is currently conducting the required procedures under the Political Party Act to formalize the dissolution. The Commission further said the PPM can no longer act or communicate as a political party except under circumstances where communication is required to facilitate its dissolution. If there are any additions to be made in relation to the party, any pending matters must be resolved before the party's dissolution, ECM added. The Department of National Registration (DNR) and the Department of Judicial Administration (DJA) agrees to provide digital copies of critical documents and data lost in a recent fire, the Malé City Council has announced. The blaze, which broke out early on the morning of 12 December, inflicted severe damage on the building that houses the Ministry of Housing, Land and Urban Development and the Ministry of Construction and Infrastructure. The adjacent green building, home to the Ministry of Climate Change, Environment and Energy, also sustained damage. An office of the Malé City Council was located within the affected premises. In a move to recover the lost documents, officials from the City Council met with representatives from the DNR and DJA. These discussions led to an agreement that the DNR and DJA would provide digital copies of essential land deeds and related court rulings, according to the City Council. The Council also noted that access to these digital records is crucial for ensuring the security and continuity of its operations. Deputy Mayor Ahmed Narish reported that the Council has already received digital copies of marriage certificates necessary for processing birth certificates. This means that residents will no longer need to submit physical copies when applying to register births, he said. The authorities have also pledged to provide digital copies of land deeds and residency documents for Malé, he said, enabling the City Council to resume 85% of the services previously suspended due to the fire. These services are primarily overseen by the Vital Registration Section, and the Land Section include handling birth and death records, residency information and land registrations. In the aftermath of the fire, which destroyed a significant portion of the documents in these departments, services have been temporarily relocated to the City Council office on Amin Avenue, Hulu-Malé. To expedite the resumption of suspended services in Malé, unaffected documents have been moved to Galolu Madrasa School. UniCredit has raised its stake in Germany's Commerzbank to 28% with new derivative contracts, the Italian bank said on Wednesday, as its bid for smaller domestic peer Banco PBM faces hurdles.
UniCredit in September emerged as the biggest private investor in Commerzbank in a move that angered the German government. It sought European Central Bank clearance to get to 29.9%, just below the level that triggers a mandatory takeover offer. UniCredit said the authorization process is ongoing, adding it was in touch with supervisors. The process can take up to 90 working days from when the ECB receives the documents. UniCredit now holds 9.5% of Commerzbank directly. A spokesperson for Commerzbank said the bank would not comment on UniCredit's announcement other than saying it continues to focus on implementing its strategy, which it will present to investors on February 13. The move comes while UniCredit is under pressure in Italy to improve its bid for Banco BPM with its offer at a 14% discount to the market price as of Monday. Announcing the BPM bid, UniCredit CEO Andrea Orcel said his bank could not afford to be sidelined in accelerating consolidation in its home market. He added he was pausing expansion efforts in Germany until a new government was in place because of a rule that would force UniCredit to pay cash and with a floor on the price if it launched a full bid for Commerzbank within 6 months of crossing the 5% ownership threshold.
Israel continues bombing Gaza, killing 10 people near Kamal Adwan Hospital in Beit Lahia.
Fire raged through the rubble in the early hours of Wednesday after an Israeli strike hit a house near Gaza's Kamal Adwan Hospital in Beit Lahia. The strike, which hit a residential building just outside the hospital, struck right before midnight, leaving at least 10 people dead. Speaking on Tuesday, the hospital director, Hussam Abu Safia, told Reuters several bodies were still trapped under the rubble, according to survivors and eyewitnesses, adding that the hospital lacks the tools and resources to dig into the ruins and assist casualties properly. Israeli army forces have operated in the area since October. Medics said Israeli strikes killed at least 20 Palestinians overnight in the Palestinian enclave. The United States, joined by Arab mediators, sought on Wednesday to conclude an agreement between Israel and Hamas to halt the 14-month-old war. On Tuesday, sources close to the talks in Cairo, the Egyptian capital, said an agreement could be signed in coming days on a ceasefire and release of hostages held in Gaza in return for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Israel's military offensive in the Gaza Strip has killed at least 45,097 Palestinians and wounded 107,244 since October 7, 2023.
Real Madrid won the Intercontinental Cup after beating Mexico's Pachuca 3-0 in the final on Wednesday, with Kylian Mbappe, Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. scoring.
It was a largely one-sided contest at the Lusail Stadium in Qatar, with Real doing just enough and never looking likely to cede control despite allowing their opponents to threaten occasionally from counter-attacks. The Champions League winners opened the scoring in the 37th minute with a fine team goal that started with Jude Bellingham passing to Vinicius Jr., who ran past the goalkeeper before putting it on a plate for Mbappe, who tapped it into the empty net. Rodrigo extended their lead with a lovely effort in the 52nd minute when he beat two defenders before cutting back inside and curling a fine strike into the top corner with his right foot. Vinicius Jr. wrapped up an easy win for Real from the penalty spot in the 83rd minute after Osama Idrissi fouled captain Lucas Vazquez inside the box. Having won 3 trophies in the original Intercontinental Cup, the predecessors to the current format that pitched the European and South American champions against each other, and 5 Club World Cups, Real have won a combined total of 9 global titles.
Japan's Space One terminated the flight of its Kairos small rocket shortly after liftoff, marking the end of its second attempt in 9 months to become the country's first company to deliver a satellite to space.
Japan Space One terminated the flight of its Kairos small rocket shortly after liftoff, marking the end of its second attempt in 9 months to become the country's first company to deliver a satellite to space. Space One said in an email to reporters that the flight, which only lasted about 10 minutes, was terminated because the achievement of its mission would be difficult. Live images from the local Wakayama Prefecture government showed the 18-meter, 59-foot solid propellant rocket blasting off from Spaceport Key in western Japan, but losing stability in its trajectory as it ascended. 5 small satellites, including one from the Taiwan Space Agency, were on board the rocket, headed into Sun Synchronous orbit, roughly 500 kilometers, 311 miles above the Earth's surface. Space One said that it was investigating the incident and will host a press conference. Tokyo-based Space One was founded in 2018 by Canon Electronics, IHI's aerospace unit, construction firm Shimizu, and a state-backed bank, with the goal of launching 20 small rockets a year by 2029 to capture growing satellites' launch demand. As its debut flight in March, Kairos, carrying a Japanese government satellite, exploded 5 seconds after launch. Space One later said that inappropriate flight settings triggered by the rocket's autonomous self-destruct system, even though no issues were found in its hardware.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.